Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
She ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. You already know that. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It is Wake Up War Chant midweek. It's Wednesday, Corey.
Wake Up Wednesday.
What are you going to do from here? This is where two paths diverge, Corey. Do you get turnt, as children would say these days? Are you going to get lit? You going to get crazy? Or you're still tropical depression, Corey. You're not even tropical storm, Corey.
I feel like Friday night and Saturday night.
Oh, come on, but there's no show on Saturday.
That might be lit, Corey. Like if you happen to run into me in town on Friday or Saturday, you're going to say, wow, is that guy lit? That dude is turnt the F up when you see me. So get ready, folks, because Daddy's taking Tallahassee by storm this weekend. Because I'm fired up. College football's here, man. Taggart era. Hashtag Taggart era. I'm
not even going to be able to enjoy the LSU-Miami game. It's on a Sunday. I'll probably be out gallivanting with the guys. My brother will be coming up, his good friend.
All right.
Couple college roommates.
I'll probably be at Corner Pocket for a while. They're doing the old Jeff Cameron Appreciation Show. And obviously, Seminole Headlines Appreciation Show on Friday night at Spirit. You're invited, for a beer.
Yeah,
if you want to come for a beer. You don't want to
weird. I think it'd be kind of weird if I show up to the.
It would be like
headline.
The ex-girlfriend or the new girlfriend showing up.
Hey, everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
I hear you. I rescind the offer.
All right.
But I'll take. Maybe I'll do like a Facebook Live or something. You can see what it's like.
All right. So, what kind of uniforms is Florida State going to wear on Monday, Corey? Do you know?
Oh boy, no, I don't. I hope it's traditional.
Are they trolling us? These people on WarChant.com. By the way, Knoll 2018. Use that promo code 50% off an entire year subscription to WarChant.com.
You got
50%
2 more days left, folks.
Yeah, 50%
Don't waste it.
Are they trolling us by because you keep asking, hey, do we know? Somebody even, I'll find it when we come back from commercial break from the next segment, but one guy I think even kind of stepped to me on the boards. I'm like, dude, I guess we'll find out. People really want to know. This is my thing. We asked Brian Burns at ACC kickoff, and he's like, confidential, which to me sounds like, yes. But here's the thing. If they wear black uniforms, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a blackout. It doesn't necessarily mean they want the fans to wear black. They're just going to wear black themselves, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's the deal, man, is that isn't the purpose of one of these things is to sell a lot of merchandise and make money?
I guess, yeah.
And if you don't broadcast it, then what's the point? I guess it looks cool. I guess they like wearing the black. But again, man, it's my opinion, and I don't have strong opinions on uniforms, so take this for what it's worth because I don't really care. But maybe the first game, you come out in the traditional. Your very first game as head coach, you come out in the traditional. You start messing with it maybe game 5 or after you've won a national championship. You can do whatever you want. They can just play in shoulder pads and no jerseys. But the first one, maybe go out in the traditional stuff.
Won't it be cathartic, though, to wear black? Just to purge the last 8 seasons of a mean, gruff person rocking the sidelines.
Maybe it's a funeral almost.
No.
Funeral.
Rebirth.
A rebirth, the old black rebirth. I feel like the rebirth, you just go with what you go back to like the 93 jerseys. That color garnet.
Yes.
Something like
more
that
red.
maybe. I could
red.
That's the 25th anniversary. Go with what Charlie Ward and Warwick Dunn were wearing in 93.
We're actually a year and 1 day. Marks 25 years. It was 25 years and a day ago that Florida State beat Kansas up in the Meadowlands.
I was in Cancun, Mexico.
Oh, you weren't up for that game?
Yep.
Oh, because you were in Cancun.
I was in Cancun.
You jerk.
Me and my dad went to a sport. It was a noon game. My dad and I went to a sports bar in Cancun at noon to watch that game.
Was Glenn Mason the head coach of the Jayhawks that season?
I believe he was, and I believe he soon thereafter accepted the job to coach at Georgia and then turned it down to go back to Kansas, which was incredible. And then I think they got Donnan. But yeah, he was the head coach at Kansas, and Florida State beat him 42-0, and they had that crazy goal line stand, which is you can't. I mean, there's never been a better goal line stand in the history of football. I know it was Kansas, but it was legitimately because Florida State could not stop jumping off sides.
Yeah.
It was legitimately like a 10-play.
Yeah.
Goal line stand.
I saw a video of it a few months ago, and I was going to probably relive this since it's going to be the 25-year anniversary coming up. And I'm like, it's like a 6.5-minute video clip. I'm like, it's a goal line stand. Let me just scrub through all this and get to the end of it.
No, yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, no, there's
another one
jumping offside.
They literally ran 10 or 11 plays and didn't get in one time from the from like the 3-yard line.
All right, so I won't make you ask Willie later today about the jerseys, but if no one's asked him by the time he's like, all right, have a great day if you want to, but coach, I don't want you or Ira to have to,
stoop to that level.
Yeah.
I think Ira's in my boat that we really don't care that much. It's a weird fascination. In my opinion, it's a weird fascination for some people. My opinion, my old man opinion, is just maybe the first game, go with the traditional stuff.
Okay.
That's all.
We'll see how it goes. By the way, also.
Isn't black also like a Virginia Tech color? Don't they wear that sometimes? Isn't that part of their color scheme?
Like
Might as well play Inner Sandman. Make them feel at home.
I noticed this, too. I was looking at some stuff on the Internet. Do you know in 2013, Garnet and Gold game, Florida State actually they were all garnet versus all white? They had all white pants. They were wearing the all white pants with the 2 garnet stripes down the side in 2013 in the spring game. Jameis is coming out.
Was Jameis garnet or white?
He was garnet.
Okay.
He was garnet. And I was like, well, I didn't even realize we had those pants anymore because I thought somebody said that because they had the
Burned in a fire.
They wore them in 2003. I remember that vividly. Notre Dame game, they were in all whites. But after that, I don't know when the last, maybe it came out against. Did we wear them against Penn State in that Orange Bowl game? I feel like maybe we were garnet and white bottoms.
I don't know.
At least I know for sure the Miami game Orange Bowl. I'm pretty sure was. But anyway, the whites were just gone. Like the white pants just never unearthed themselves. But
they're in a warehouse somewhere.
Sure enough, in that spring game they did. So, but we'll see how that all goes. Anyhow, what are we going to ask him today? What do we need to know? What do you expect? This is my thing. I don't know. I wonder how you guys dog a lot on Jimbo, but I feel like Jimbo did give some, or maybe correct me. Go ahead. What was Jimbo like when you would ask him, "What are you expecting from Louisville?" Or "What are you expecting from Georgia Tech? What do you see on tape?" Would he give you guys a decent answer, or was it?
I mean, it was always. It's like every coach, and it makes sense that he wouldn't say like, "Well, they don't have very good cornerbacks, so we're going to try to attack them on the outside." He would never say anything like that. Big, physical, good at stopping the run, like everybody talked about. It sounded like they were getting ready to play the Steelers.
Right.
But I think most coaches are like that, right? That's just kind of there aren't many Steve Spurriers that were like, if we play well, we should beat them by 30 or 40 points. Yeah. Like, they don't make them like that, and Jimbo certainly isn't like that. So you weren't going to get a lot of great answers about the other team from Jimbo. You could get some very insightful answers about his team, but not about the other team.
I think we're going to get a lot of, we're more worried about ourselves. It's the opener. We don't know. We're just worried about ourselves. I think we're going to get a lot of that.
But I don't
today.
think that's I think that's true.
Yeah, I'm not griping about it. I'm saying that's what.
But also, I don't think that's coach speak. I think that's true. I mean, I really do. I think that's a truism, especially in the first game. You don't really have a lot to go on. You're worried about what you guys are doing, not necessarily who's going to be their third wide receiver.
What are you going to approach? You let the stories write themselves. You don't go there and create narrative. But I mean, what sort of things do you think we'll be able to? We should ask Willie. What should we be asking of him? Part of the assembled media corps.
I mean, I'd like to know if. And I don't know how he'd answer it, but I would like to know if the season started today, which it almost does, who are the first 4 wide receivers on the field for you?
What if he's like, we're not going to go 4, we're going to go 3 wide?
Well, then tell me the 3, Willie. Tell me the 3.
Keith, Nooney, and Tamorian, right?
You think so, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, maybe DJ. Well, we should get a depth chart today, I would think, because it's the ACC teleconference as well. We should get a depth chart.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. Usually the depth chart, I think they'd give us, with Jimbo, would be 2 days before the game. So I don't know if they'll wait till Saturday to give us a depth chart. I don't know if they're waiting for Virginia Tech to have a depth chart. I also don't think it matters. I really don't. I've always wondered this, not wondered, it's baffling how coaches handle their depth charts when it comes to, like, you're preparing for Virginia Tech. Well, you're preparing for the system. The 11 guys on offense, they're going to have a tailback, and they're going to have wide receivers. It doesn't really matter who they are. You all summer, all August, you prepared. The last 2 weeks, you prepared to try to stop the scheme. Not like, okay, when 21 comes out of his break, he's gonna flash hard to the sideline. Now you got to stay on that hit. That's not how you coach against a team. So why are they so weird about their depth charts?
True.
Who cares if it's Emmett Rice or DeKalen Brooks? Will that stop Virginia Tech? Will that make them
wipe that package out? We're not going to use that.
Yeah, if DeKalen's on the field, you can't run that.
Yeah.
It just makes zero sense. To me, it always has, except with quarterbacks. Right. Like with Ponder, if they're trying to, and they actually one of the last times they played Virginia Tech was when Ponder was hurt, and they kept it a secret all week. And then actually, we at the Democrat, Jim Lamar at the Democrat, broke it about 5 or 6 hours before the game that EJ was going to start, and Jimbo wasn't really happy about that. But it was news, number one. We did know it. We got it from 3 or 4 different sources. And also, did it really change that much of how they game planned? Maybe a little because EJ was more of a runner. As a punter was a very good runner, but I mean, like, that was more of EJ's game plan when he was in the game. When he was going to run more, as opposed to punter who would throw it. But other than that,
in the early years of the EJ Manuel.
Yeah, until he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. But yeah, so that I can understand a little bit as far as gamesmanship. But normal, just depth chart stuff, man. You know they're going to have an offensive guard. You know they're going to have 2 cornerbacks. Or doesn't make sense putting an or out there.
You know who would probably affect or who did affect game plans?
Who's that?
Marvin Jones.
He sure did.
Talk about horrible. See, this is why we need to pre-produce things more often. We went the entire segment, didn't even mention that today on this program right here, you're going to hear from Florida State Hall of Famer Marvin Jones, first-round pick.
And, you know, I
Marvin
looked up, I was doing a story about all of some of Florida State's great games against Virginia Tech. They've had some really memorable ones, actually, for 2 teams that don't play each other. And in the 1990 game, when he was a freshman, a true freshman, he had 20 tackles against Virginia Tech. It was the 3rd game of his career.
Okay.
15 solo, 20 total.
Oh, well, that doesn't count then. I mean, if only 15 were solo.
Yeah, I know. It's a good point. Good point.
All right, let's talk to him. Yeah, folks, we're going to have Marvin Jones on today. Again, a Florida State Hall of Famer, a first-round draft pick, potentially maybe the best defensive player in Florida State history. In some circles.
He is in the conversation.
You wouldn't be uncomfortable if you had to argue that on national television, would you? Like, Corey Clark, welcome to ESPN. We want you to argue that Marvin Jones was the best Florida State defensive player of all time.
Absolutely not. He was incredible for 3 solid years until he went pro a year early. He was the best player on their defense, starting as a true freshman, and by his junior year, he was just a sight to behold.
All right, let's talk to him right after this. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It is Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I may be a real bad boy, but baby, I'm a real good man.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for being here. Wake Up War Chant. Use the promo code, folks. NOL2018. Get your 50% off. You get an entire year subscription to warchant.com at half the price. It expires midnight Saturday, technically. Get her done. Get it done now. Join the family. And what better time, because Florida State's season is so close from beginning, and it starts at home, which means there will be an edition of Sod Talk going on over at the Sod Cemetery, which is located next to the practice fields between, obviously, Doak Campbell Stadium and the indoor practice facility. The guest speakers will not only be Peter Warwick, but also Marvin Jones. You can meet both of them between 6 and 6:30, and then they'll relive some of the great games of their lives and their history here at Florida State during Sod Talk over at the Sod Cemetery. So not only Peter Warwick, but also a linebacker by the name of Marvin Jones. He was really good. With that said, let's bring Marvin Jones in. Should we do that, Corey?
Yeah, I think people want to hear from him.
All right, Marvin, I'm Aslan. You're probably not going to hear from me for the rest of the show because Corey knows everything inside and out about your career. But thanks for joining us, man. How are things in your world?
Well, everything's good, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Marvin, I have a question for you. They're playing Virginia Tech on Monday night. The 4th game you ever played at Florida State was against Virginia Tech. I don't know if you remember that game. You guys got down 21-3 and then rallied to win. Do you have any idea how many tackles you had in that game?
Yeah, I think I finished with probably 21, but I think I missed about 4 or 5. So that would have probably been my highest total tackle.
I was going to say, man, you had
career in the game.
You had 15 solo tackles, and that was the 4th game of your career. So I guess, did you know you were always a badass linebacker? Like, did you know that from the time you were 13, 14 years old?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I've always been a tough football player, a hard-nosed football player. I love to play tough. I love to tackle. I mean, even when I was a young kid, I loved to play tackle, you know, in the grass, tackle in the street with no pads, and everybody was always afraid of me. So I just always kept that attitude and just, you know, I just wanted to go out and punish people. That's just how I played the game.
How much of that came from your brother? Like, I remember your brother playing in the mid-'80s, and he was good. Like, I know you became Marvin Jones, but Fred Jones was a damn good football player. How much did you learn from him? And I guess he was probably 7 or 8 years older than you. So what did you learn from his football career? What did he teach you?
Well, I think one of the best things about my brother, I mean, he's 7 years older than me, and Fred was definitely a damn great football player. I think a lot of the difference was I was just a lot faster.
Right.
During his days, I mean, he was a lot bigger. I mean, he's 6'3", 200, and probably 30, 40 pounds during those days, and it was a different football game. But I think my thing is just that I was more athletic than he was, but I mean, if you look at the totality of players, I mean, he was definitely a great player. He was definitely, a smart player, and we worked together a lot. During my high school career, we started working together probably when I was in elementary, because that's when he was probably already a freshman at Florida State. Was when I was in elementary school, and every time he would, get his breaks to come home, I would run with him, run a couple of miles with him. We'd go out on the field, and he'd teach me all the little techniques. I even had one of these little playbooks back then. Not that I really understood everything in it, but I started learning, by reading his playbook.
So, yeah, and I was going to say, like, usually when you hear about older brothers, there's like a 2-year age gap or maybe a 3-year age gap where the older brother maybe picks fights on with his little brother and roughhouses him and bullies him, and the stuff you hear from older brothers and younger brothers. But he was so much older, like 7 years. Y'all probably didn't get into a lot of scraps, did you? Because he was just so much bigger than you, it wouldn't have been fun or fair.
Well, not really. I mean, one thing about it, he was a very powerful guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, even in high school, I mean, he was like a weightlifting champion then. I mean, he got trophies for weightlifting, and probably in high school he was a 350, 400-pound guy lifting. So he's always been a strong, imposing guy. But he worked good. I mean, he was pretty good with techniques. I mean, he had some really good coaches. Even in college, even in high school, he had some pretty good coaches. So he's always been a smart, wise player. But it didn't get probably till right when I got a little older, when we started really kind of putting the pads on and really started doing, I mean, he would put his pads on, I put my pads on, and we kind of go against each other here and there. But, I wasn't going to hurt him, though. I kind of took it easy on
right.
him. But I mean, and definitely having an older brother that was, in the position that he was, and, he always played rough with us. So,
yeah.
So it made a lot of difference. We were tough growing up because we had to deal with him all the time.
I'm sure.
It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant. Florida State Hall of Famer, all-time great first-round draft pick Marvin Jones joining us on the program.
So, Marvin, Fred obviously played at Florida State and played well. Was there ever a chance you were going to another school? Who else recruited you? Did you come close to going anywhere else?
Well, I mean, during that time, I was rated as a top 5 player in the country.
I should have.
I had everybody recruiting me.
Yeah, everybody was recruiting
but,
you. Who was close? Who were you close to? Who were you close maybe to top 5?
But I think. Well, I think obviously. I mean, if you looked at the dynamics back then, it was actually 1990 when I came out. That was Dennis Erickson's first year at Miami.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Steve Spurrier's first year at Florida.
Right.
And I think both of those schools were kind of dealing with some, probationary issues at that time also. I mean, Oklahoma was a school, that was, obviously highly sought because, the linebacker core and things like that. But, I mean, I had a choice, obviously. Everybody was on my trail. But I think what happened was kind of once people realized that my brother went to Florida State, they pretty much figured, hey, he's going to go to Florida State. And I think also a lot of the coaches from Florida State told a lot of the other schools, like, hey, I don't know why you recruit him. He's coming here anyway.
That's smart.
And I told him, I said, hey, don't do that, man. I need to get my other trips in. You know what I mean? I got free trips coming. Don't mess up my free trips.
So do you remember the in-home visit with Coach Bowden?
Well, actually, absolutely. And, I mean, I remember his in-home visit with my brother also, so I guess he got me twice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Especially when my brother was there, because obviously during that time, the Bobby Bowers show, watching kids, Bobby Bowers show was very popular at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we lived to love to watch the Bobby Bowers show because, our brother's, 6-7 hours away. So we didn't have an opportunity, to go to every game. So our basic thing was we had to listen on the radio, at that time, wait Florida State played or catch the highlights on the Bobby Bowers show. So to have him in our house, when my brother was there, was kind of a huge thing for us. I mean, it was huge for us, and and I've told the story before, and I actually told him when he was recruiting my brother at that time. I said, hey man, I said I'm gonna come up and play for you anyway. So.
Oh, you told him that when you were 10 years old?
But during my time of having mine, I mean, it was awesome. But see, the thing was, I think, having him come in the house with me was really formality more than, kind of recruiting me because, during that time my brother was playing there. I was always up there with him in the summertime. So I was always kind of around the program all the time. So I was already feeling at home. I had already, knew all the coaches, so and plus I was already, I was already going to the football camps. So
right.
I had already had familiarity with the coaching staff and everybody. So him coming, I think it was more of a big thing when my brother came than it was for me because, I was already familiar with him, and kind of got over all the excitement, of meeting.
Right. Do you remember the first compliment that Mickey Andrews gave you? Because he's notoriously a hard coach. Yeah. The first time he said that, Marvin.
No, Mickey don't get compliments.
Not even to Marvin Jones?
No, man. Mickey, that's not in his repertoire. I think Mickey was, I don't know. Me and Mickey had kind of a crazy relationship.
Oh, did you? All right.
I mean, I was just a player. I went out and did what I did. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I think one of the good things about, when, players like myself, having a player like how I was then, I mean, I was always full speed. My motor was always going. I never took plays off. I mean, my practices were like games.
Right.
So a lot of times, once you come in like that, because that's how I kind of was, coming in the first day. That's not something that I became. And once you have players like that, and coaches, I mean, once you do it the first time, I mean, it's just an expectation. So, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like Mickey didn't ever have to really kind of get on me because, I came in from day one being that type of player for him.
Right. And, I mean, people that don't know, and they should, I mean, it was immediately from day one. I believe you led the team in tackles your very first game as a true freshman. Did you have any doubt at all when you I know you're a confident dude, man, but Florida State had some dudes already on the team. It was Florida State. Did you have any doubt at all that you were going to play a lot as a freshman? Did you wonder if you were going to be redshirted or where you fit? Or were you like, yeah, man, I'm a badass. I'm going to play immediately because that's what Marvin Jones does?
Well, here's the deal. I kind of looked at it when I was in high school. People say, hey, well, you got to play junior varsity to play on high school. Well, I lasted one day on junior varsity in high school. I mean, the first day I killed everybody in practice, and the coach threw me out of practice. Said, "Get them out of the damn practice. We can't, we don't have no damn players." So so going into Florida State, you go, okay, well, they got all these guys because honestly, to be quite honest, when you go to college, it's kind of a little bit intimidating coming from high school to college. Because you have guys that work out and they look like football players, and you coming in. I mean, I came in, I was just kind of, even though I was a 215-pound, 220-pound guy, I wasn't, a bulky guy with all these muscles, had been on a weight program, and, well, it's kind of intimidating. But once I put those pads in and I started practicing, I started nailing people and things like that, it didn't become a red shirting or playing or waiting to play. Wasn't an option for anymore because once I went out there, after on the first day of practice, and I started hitting people. I was like, man, hell, I can play.
Right.
I came here to play. I'm not redshirting. And going into the first game, I mean, I think I sat out the first series. At the time, the other guy, he played the first series, and then once I win, I never came on the field.
Right.
I mean, for 3 years. For him. So. But my mentality changed because you kind of go in unsure, as a freshman, compete with guys that look like Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And all of a sudden you go out there and you start nailing people. You're like, wait a minute, I can play with these guys. This ain't all it's cooked up to be.
Right.
And that's when it changed for me, all during camp, So, I never had any doubt. I mean, once that happened, I was like, man, this is it. I'm going here. And, and like I said, from day one, that's a mindset I had to have because my brother always taught me, be the best at what you're going to be. Be the best. Always be first. Be the best at what you're going to do. Always practice hard. Be first in line. Do everything right. So that's the attitude I had.
So who was the guy that played that first series that you ended up taking his job?
Oh, they ended up it was Bryce Abbott, I think, at that time.
Sorry, Bryce.
Bryce Abbott, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Bryce. Didn't work out for you. But so my last question, Marvin, is now it's commonplace where these guys, if a guy's really good, he's going to leave after his junior year. That wasn't the case back in the early 90s. Was it a hard decision? I know Buckley had left maybe the year before you did, I think. But was it a hard decision to go pro, or did you kind of know? I mean, there was really nothing left to prove at the college level for you, but I didn't know if you ever even thought about coming back for your senior year.
Well, I mean, I would say this. It was a hard decision just based upon, a lot of the guys that I came in and I played with and the camaraderie that I built. I think also, going into my, junior year, knowing where we were positioned because, guess what? Hey, for the first 3 years of my career, we never finished outside the top 4 in college football.
Right.
And, with a game here or a game two, we could have we could have won 2 national championships in those 3 years.
Right.
During that period of time. So knowing how we were going into my senior year, it's like, man, we going to win it all this year. But, it came down to, for me, the turning point was more when I tweaked my ankle in the Georgia Tech game.
Right.
And that kind of was a turning point because that's the first time I had ever had any type of injury that, required me to maybe miss some time. And that's when it kind of changed for me as a junior going, oh, man, okay, this is reality. This thing, I could really get hurt. Okay, I mean, I've already positioned myself as the best linebacker. I mean, All-American. I've already been considered as a top 10 draft choice. I'm probably going to win the Buckeyes. Second year going to probably going to be at the Lombardi again. Already in the Heisman race as a defensive player. I mean, the only other thing would have been for me to, would be to win a national championship, but, I got to eat.
Fair enough, man.
So that was the decision. But like I said, the Georgia Tech game was a turning point for me. Once I twisted my ankle, I was like, I could possibly get hurt. So there's nothing left for me to do in college football. And it was all amicable. And the thing about it was Coach Bauer, and pretty much everybody in the coaching staff already knew I was leaving.
Right.
At that point, and Coach Bauer, and it was kind of, it was a little awkward at the last game. I remember at the Orange Bowl, and obviously, it probably was a lot tougher for Coach Bauer too because the whole season he had to listen to people say, well, to answer questions or no, hey, your linebacker's leaving this year, And, for him, so I think it got to a point to where they were kind of, like, hey, just go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they got tired of talking about it, and, and I got tired of being asked about it, and I just went to them after the game. After the Nebraska game, the Orange Bowl, I just say, hey, Coach Bauer, hey, I don't know if, I'm probably going to return for next season. He just say, hey, man, listen, just whatever decision you're going to make, just go ahead and make that decision. And that was kind of what we left it at, Because like I said, that was pretty much the talk of my whole junior year,
Right.
So I think we both had enough of it.
Right. And I just, real quick, Aslan, I remember his last game in Doak. I think Eric Rhett, on the first play of the game, had a nice run, maybe a 10 or 11-yard run. And I think he said something to Marvin after the play. He looked like he said something to Marvin. And then the rest of the game, Marvin, you didn't let that dude breathe. What do you remember about that game, that moment, and that dude? Because I don't think he got another yard after that game, after that carry.
Well, one of the things, man, about Eric Rhett, man, is, Eric Rhett's a Broward County boy, so you know what I mean? We all, I'm Dade County, he's a Broward County boy, and Eric, one thing about it, he loved to talk.
Right.
You know, he loved to talk, and because we had a lot of mutual friends, obviously. So kind of when he was at, before the game, he was, guys would be saying, "Well, Eric said this, Eric said that." And and one thing about it, my whole game was about punishing people. I mean, that's just how I played the game. I honestly, I always my game was I was going to inflict fear.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to allow you to run the ball. I wasn't going to allow you to be. I'm going to hit you with everything I got. I don't take plays off, and you better be damn sure when you get the ball and you're coming through that hole, and from there you're getting hit with everything I got. That's just the way I played. That's just the way I practiced. And, a lot of times it's always a little extra special, from our own guys that's from our own neighborhoods.
Sure.
I had a bunch of guys went to Miami that I played against in high school, and him being a county over and playing at Florida. So it makes it a little extra special because it's just more jolly and trash talk.
Right. Well, I'm sure he remembers that game.
Hey, Marvin, what are you up to these days that people want to know what their all-time favorite Seminoles up to? Are you coaching? What are you up to these days? What keeps you busy?
Well, the last 2 seasons I've been a head coach in the indoor football league, and last year I was, the head coach, interim head coach for the Colorado Crush. And this past season I was the head coach of the Cedar Rapids Titans up in Iowa in the pro indoor football league. So that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of years, coaching-wise. And hopefully I'll extend that. I'll be somewhere else this year. So that's kind of what I like to do and kind of what I've enjoyed to give back to guys in the game of football. I know a lot about football. So, man, I know how to coach it. I enjoy it, and I enjoy helping guys. A lot of these guys are, trying to get NFL workouts or a Canadian Football League contracts and things. So that's why I like to work with these guys and try to get them to their dreams. So that's what I'm doing right now. So maybe I'll be at Florida State next year after. Who knows?
There we go.
Now we're talking.
Float it out. Marvin Jones and Peter Warwick will meet fans between 6 p.m. and 6:30 at the Sod Cemetery. Sod Talk begins at 6:30. It's 90 minutes before kickoff. FSU Hall of Famer Marvin Jones joining us here on Wake Up War Chant. Thanks so much for the time, Marvin. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Marvin.
We'll be right back after this. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Wake up! He's Corey. I'm Aslan. It's Wake Up War Chant 97.9 ESPN Radio. Don't forget, folks, Knoll 2018. Use the promo code. Pretty much, Corey's giving you $50 free. Corey's giving everybody in the country $50 free. 50% off for new subscribers. A 1-year subscription to warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole source. The best.
And if it was just you and I on War Chant, it would be worth that money and more.
Well,
just your videos and my writing and our interactions on the boards would be worth that, I think, in my opinion, and my not-so-objective opinion. But when you throw Ira and Gene and Langston into the mix and our wonderful posters who always keep an even level head on the message boards, very even keel.
Practical, rational.
Can't wait to see it on Monday night. Once you throw them into the mix, it pays for itself, folks. You should be paying us. Well, you are paying us.
They are.
You should be doubling or tripling that.
All right, easy. Let's get carried away. What percentage do you think of our subscribers actually post? Like more than 40% or less than 40%?
I'd say less.
That's crazy.
I feel like all of them have probably posted a couple of times, but I think it's certainly less than 40% that are on there a lot, like getting in the deep conversations back and forth.
Yeah, because you do see the same names kind of over and over.
Yeah.
So, a reminder, folks, programming note, we're going to have
but I think they read them. I think a lot of them are just like they
lurk.
They lurk, but they don't post.
Oh, for sure. That's a good point. Programming note, folks. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Mike. How would you pronounce Niziolek?
Nizoliak?
Oh, I like that. We'll do that. Mike Nizoliak. He's the beat writer for Virginia Tech. He'll give us the lowdown, if you will, on the Hokies. So, yeah, we'll have Mike from the Roanoke Times-Dispatch. He'll talk about the Hokies. Again, I don't think they're really feeling too optimistic about their chances, or just they got a lot of holes too. I think Florida State's holes are nowhere near as gaping, if you will, as the Hokies.
And I will. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think they probably go into this season a little less confident, and certainly into this game a little less confident than Florida State.
Do you have any engagements this week for radio? Other people want to talk to you on their radio shows or anything like that?
No. I've kind of in the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years, because I get them still a good bit, or I used to. I think people learned, but they would text me a lot of different producers from around the country, like Nebraska, Washington, but all over asking me to come on, and I would just stop returning. I just don't even return the text. It legitimately does. I don't know that I've ever gained a single Twitter follower from one of those hits. So,
Is that how you measure things?
Well, I'm just like, okay. But I'm doing it more now that I'm with War Chant, because I want to promote War Chant. But before, when I was with the Democrat, I just, for whatever reason, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to sell any subscriptions to the Democrat.
True.
So especially because they're out of the city. So I don't think people in Tampa are going to buy.
Well, TDO.com, brother.
Yeah, they could do that. But yeah, so I decided to stop doing it. It really kind of started with the Jameis stuff. Yeah. I just didn't. At that point, I was like, man, I'm not going to go on the radio just to talk about this stuff.
Did you do any of them and then just have a bad experience? And you're like,
no, I was pretty smart about it. Like Ira and Jeff did. But I knew right away, I was like, man, I'm not smart enough to talk about a topic like this and not irk people or say something that I shouldn't say. Yeah. And it was such a gray area, not what's right or wrong, but what we knew at the time. It was all when it was slowly leaking out what had happened in DNA. And I'm like, man, I'm not smart enough to talk about this. I am a beat writer. I write about football. And you want me to talk about sexual assault. It's hard. I'm not comfortable with it. So I didn't.
I was on the airwaves in Dothan yesterday.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
They threw me a real big curveball at the end. They're like, I want to ask you this one question before you go. Nebraska just had a quarterback to transfer out, which means that Taylor Martinez or Adrian Martinez, their only quarterback on the roster. What do you think about these quarterbacks leaving these days? And I'm like,
well, that came out of nowhere, huh?
Well, I guess I think it was
Coker?
Well, I think it was because they asked me about Francois and the whole quarterback thing.
Oh, right. And what's his name? Jalen Hurts will be probably transferring, you would think.
Yeah, they asked me that. They're like, do you see a dual quarterback system going in Alabama? I'm like, absolutely. There's no way. I don't want to talk about the future of the quarterbacks, but I mean, I guess that's why they brought the question up.
Well,
because you're not going to have 3 talented kids just sit here and wait their turn.
And somebody asked us on headlines about that. Do we think that one of the 2 guys that didn't win the job will transfer? And I'm like, that's probably going to happen, but not anytime soon. It wouldn't make any sense. Number one, Bailey Hockman's just a freshman.
Yeah.
He's behind a redshirt junior. And so he still has a very good chance to start in his career at Florida State. So does James Blackman. So, especially if Francois, and not that Francois will be an early pick, but he might just be like, you know what, my measurables are my measurables. If he has a really nice year this year, I had a nice year, I'm going to go test it at the next level. I've been here 4 years. Let me go. And then those 2 guys will be battling it out for the starting spot. I think whoever loses that battle, whenever it is, if it's 2019 or 2020, whoever loses that starter battle, I think they'll transfer. But until then, they both should have hope and belief that they're going to be the starting quarterback at Florida State one day. Why would you just cut tail and run? It's not like they're behind a true freshman. They're behind a guy that's now starting his 4th year at Florida State. So what are you scared of? In 2 years, you might be the starting quarterback. Stick it out.
2 years is a long time for a 20-year-old.
But there's no guarantee that Bailey Hockman could transfer to – where would he transfer? Louisville? There's no guarantee he'd start there.
How many of these transfers, though, end up not starting at their next home?
I mean, I feel like a good portion of them. The
really?
guy at Everett Golson started, was terrible. The guy
Luke Del Rio started.
Malik Zaire started not much. I don't know that he ever started.
Yeah, that's true.
And the better question is not how many start, how many end up actually having success.
Yeah.
How many are actually good quarterbacks that just didn't get a chance?
Jacob Coker.
There you go. That's a national championship winning quarterback right there.
Legend.
So that happened. And that was odd for him. I mean, it worked out. He won a championship. But why wasn't he here in 2015? Did he think Jameis was staying for an extra year? Like, why wouldn't you just stick it out and play quarterback for the guy that always makes his quarterbacks first-round picks instead of going to Alabama where they don't ever throw the ball?
Because when mama comes calling, you always go home, right?
I mean, I guess it was odd. It was just odd that he left when he left because he would have been the starting quarterback in 2015. Because he didn't even start that year that he thought he was going to start. Was it 14? He went over there and then got beat out by what's his name?
Blake Sims.
Yeah. So he didn't even start. I mean, I guess he wanted to start in 14.
Or did he have to sit out because of
No, he was eligible. They had a QB battle and
Blake Sims, man, he was oof.
So I always thought that was odd. I thought Coker should have stuck that one out. But I do think I understand why they end up transferring. You can only have one quarterback on the field, and if they're good, there's only one that's going to play. But I think it would be a huge mistake for. I just can't imagine Blackman doing it at all because he thinks he's going to start as soon as Francois leaves, and I would think Hawkman feels the same way. So stick it out, man.
We'll see. I'm very interested to see how James Blackman sort of. I mean, I really can't say responds because he's not going to be playing. But I mean, from what we saw at practice yesterday, the very brief. I mean, literally it was one period at 5 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, glad I didn't get up to come out and watch that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. DeAndre. I think it was Christian Armstrong. I don't know who he put somebody on. I think it was either him or Derek Kelly. I know 177, 173. How can you get him confused? But, I mean, just work with me here, folks. I'm looking at the video. I was breaking it down like Zapruder film. I was going frame by frame. I couldn't tell. It was either 77 or 73. But he put whatever defensive lineman, which I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to say his name, put him on roller skates and just pushed him, like, way out of pushed him into the – they were like –
Who did?
Christian Armstrong.
Freshman. I thought you were talking about James Blackman. It's like, what?
No. He is a different kind of skinny, but he's not that kind of skinny. But there's like 3 lanes, and it was the right.
Oh, I saw that. And he pushes him off the screen.
Yeah, all the way, and then you see like DeAndre like get on his horse and like gallop over there and run over and give him some love, and then James Blackman's not too far behind either. So and I think Ira pointed that out too in the update thread. I guess that's probably another thing. That's another product of Willie and the culture and just the family relating to him, the family vibe, I mean, all that sort of stuff that we've talked about. I mean, I guess we saw a little bit of it in recruiting. We've seen it just in the way that the team is. Whether you see the way they talk to each other on social media or what have you. But I think maybe we're going to see a little benefit of just Willie's ability to be a cool dude, just keeping these guys happy, not playing.
Well, but I also think part of that is Blackman. Like, that's his natural personality. I don't think he's a kid that sulks. I think he is a really good teammate. I think he'll not embrace it because you wouldn't want someone to embrace being second string, but I think he'll handle it really well. And I also think, man, he's a true sophomore. Like this should be his redshirt freshman season.
It should,
and he shouldn't be when he signed here, he wasn't expecting to play to start in 2018. He saw what Francois did in 16. He's like, all right, well, I got to be behind that guy for another couple of years. So it's not like same with Hawkman. It's not like they've lost a race or they're behind schedule.
Nothing's really changed. It's where it was before the guy.
And it's it's exactly the same depth chart it was last year when nobody had a problem with it. It's the same thing. So, again, I think those two guys, if they're thinking about their careers, are looking for whenever that QB battle is after 12 leaves, which one of them is going to take the reins or the kid that's coming in. They're going to have to battle him. Now, if that kid wins the job, is it Howell?
Yes,
Sam Howell?
Sam Howell, correct.
If that kid wins the job, then obviously understand why they would want to maybe go move it on just to try to find a place to play. But I think both those guys think they're going to start at Florida State in their careers, and they could start here for 2 years.
Yeah. All right, man. You're right. You're right about that. Definitely agree. All right, let's step aside. Let's pay a few bills. Be right back. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I had all and then most of you, some and now none of you.
It's been a White Boy Wednesday on the bumper music. All Corey's suggestions and selections.
Come on, man.
What?
I told you to play Ghostface Killah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's okay. He's
Just
universal.
saying.
It's universal. The woo is universal.
Right.
It's ESPN Radio 97.9, or rather 97.9 ESPN Radio. One of these days I'll get it right all 4 times. He's Corey Amazon's Wake Up War Chant. Another programming reminder, folks. Peter Warwick, you might know that name. He's going to be on the program. Probably we'll get him on Monday, we're thinking. We'll get you on. We'll let him talk Labor Day before his big coronation, his big homecoming, if you will. The prodigal son returns. So we'll have that on Monday, maybe
Virginia
Friday.
Tech, there's some symmetry there with Virginia Tech in town.
And I think we'll probably then push Renegade Express to Friday. We might not be on radio Monday. We probably won't be on radio Monday, but we'll have some sort of podcast to keep you occupied on Monday. Friday, we'll do Renegade Express. Leave your questions on warchant.com or give us a call 850-792-5730. Cool little thing about Peter Works. I've been trying to get a hold of him, sending text messages. I finally called him, and it went to his voicemail, and you get the, the caller you have reached is none of, you've reached, blah, 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 the phone number. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm ruining this whole story.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah,
I do this too many times, Corey. I don't know
it's
why.
crazy that anybody listens to this show. As good as I am, it's crazy.
But it's just like, you've reached the voicemail box of Corey Clark.
Right.
It's like, you've reached the voicemail box of P-Dub.
Oh, is that what he says?
That's
That's funny.
P-Dub. So, but yeah, we got a hold of him.
It should be a Deckerhoff calling.
Right.
Warwick, 2-1 touchdown.
Peter with a touchdown. I got to work on my Deckerhoff. I heard Ryan Kelly used to have a really good Deckerhoff.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly's sneaky, really good at impressions. He's got a couple of them that are really good.
Yeah. Let's get one more Ogeron.
Well, you do have an Ogeron. I got my Liam Neeson. I mean, we all got our strengths.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have Peter work on the program. Hopefully Monday we're thinking Renegade Express again Friday. Do get involved. Are you going to hop on the teleconference? Or is that we let Ira do that since he earns the big bucks?
I mean, it's weird that he's having a teleconference
the same day as
literally 15 minutes before we're going to get to ask him whatever we want. So I probably won't be on there. I'm certainly not going to ask a question because that would be kind of rude to the other people that aren't about to get him for 30 minutes in a press conference. So I guess I could listen to see what he has to say, and then maybe if he says something interesting, we could ask him about it when we get him 10 minutes later.
Follow up on it. All right, what are we going to ask him? What else?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Seen any good movies lately? You know what I saw? Saturday night really didn't have anything going on, weirdly. Like, just nothing going on. My son was at a sleepover.
I want to go see Black Klansman.
So I did see that.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really good. The end is
poignant.
Very, very poignant and powerful. But I hadn't seen the Avengers movie, the new one, the Infinity Wars. Had you seen it?
I'm not a comic book. I spent so much money on comic books as a child, but I haven't watched.
I'm not a
huge
fan of them either. And there's so
X-Men,
many of them,
whatever.
it's hard to keep up with. But spoiler alert: if you haven't seen it, and it's been 6 months now, I think, or 5 months.
Turn it down.
It's on demand. So anyway,
15 count.
Yeah, do like a 15 or 20 count, and then turn the radio back on. But right now, turn it down. So they kill half the people in the movie.
Like the good guys?
Black Panther, Spider-Man.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, exactly. He finally has a huge hit. Yeah. He hadn't even been mentioned for like 10 movies.
Knocking me down.
And then all of a sudden he just disappears. But it's like, I knew some stuff happened, and I don't pay that much attention to that world. Hey, if you just tune back in, turn it back down again. We're still talking about it. Spoiler alert. But, man, they like half of them go. I think Hulk maybe? I can't remember all, but it's like.
Oh, jeez.
Because what he does is, I guess he gets rid of randomly half the universe, living things in the universe. So half the comic book people are all gone. The Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy is gone.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? So does that mean they're all over now? Which would be great. We can start making adult movies again. But I was very it was odd. It was not really
jarring.
Well, I knew something was going to happen, but it was like, man, this is PG-13. Like, kids are watching this. So anyway, they all, again, turn it right back down real quick. You got about 3 seconds. They all turn to dust. Like, it isn't like they just they just evaporate into dust.
What kind of motion was that?
Well, hey, man. So anyway, so that wasn't the best Saturday night. But, it was still a good movie, I guess.
And all we are is dust in the wind, though, right?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, so I did that on Saturday night. I didn't know if you and your girl, your gal, your female.
My bird?
Your bird had seen any movies.
No movies yet. We haven't done movie night yet.
All right.
Maybe soon. All right, how about this question?
All right, let's go.
It's probably...
They're making a Bad Boys 3, by the way, I think.
Ooh. We'll see if that can usurp Coach T's favorite movie of all time.
I was going to say, you ask him if he's excited about that.
Okay, I can ask him about that. So I was going to ask him...
Don't do that in a press conference.
I won't. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. I know you're better than that.
I'm just going to ask him who's his favorite reporter on the beat is. No, I'm kidding. Actually, what I want to ask him is about Josh Kaindoh. And listen, Coach, I don't know if I should. Sometimes you want to really kind of preface things and make sure you don't get people upset, and you end up digging yourself a bigger hole, I think, as a reporter by, laying out this whole thing.
Right.
Just ask him the question. I just want to be like, can you tell us? I don't want to say that because then he'll be like, no. But I just want to ask him straight, like, is Josh Kaindoh's malady, I think. Malady. Is it a bone? Milady. Is it a bone and joint thing, or is it some sort of, what's the other word? Like, is it a organ condition? Is it something internal? I don't want to say internal because, I mean, your bones and joints are also internal.
You haven't gotten this question.
But that's kind of what I want to ask him because
I don't think he'll say. He'll just say he'll quote privacy laws and HIPAA, and that actually, in fact, another thing we talked about on headlines.
He never has.
I think with Kaindoh's a different cat, man, and he I think he wants to be a doctor one day, and he really understands those privacy laws and doesn't want you to know anything about what's going on with him. And
if it was a knee, why wouldn't he? That's my thing.
I don't know. I don't know why, but he is very private about that stuff.
That's why I think it's not a bone and joint thing.
But I don't think Taggart, just because Kaindoh doesn't want him to talk about it, I don't think Taggart would get specific about it. I think the better tact is, do you expect to have him this year?
Ooh, well, that's way too broad.
Well, I mean, if he hems and haws at all and says maybe we're not, then you at least have this is really serious.
Yeah.
That said, as we mentioned yesterday, I guess he was gonna work back and forth with the flash and bang. I don't know what they call the other side.
Boundary, I think.
But it should be bang, flash and bang, like the grenade. But so he was going to work on there some of the time, but I think mainly he was going to be Burns' backup, or a lot of times he's going to be Burns' backup, except on passing downs. So you're going to have Janarius Robinson play well, and the Briggs kid's going to have to play, right? I mean, and Wolverine. You've only got 4, so with Lawson being gone and Kaindoh probably not participating, you've only got 4 DNs. So I mean, you do have guys that you can put around the line of scrimmage that are fast, but they're not big. So you can do stuff with linebackers. Emmett Rice can run around and try to sack a quarterback, I guess.
All right. Let's go grab breakfast and let's go hang out with Willie.
Well, I don't eat breakfast, but we'll go hang out with Willie. How about that?
All right. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Thanks for listening, folks. Jeff Cameron coming at 3. It's been Wake Up War Chant.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Nole, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? WarChant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. WarChant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.